So hey everyone, let's do a quick investigation on how to do a transfer from MicroSurvey CAD to FieldGenius. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go into our project manager and we're going to go ahead and create a new project. So let's give it a name and put it in one of our project directories. Survey. It's going to be a survey example. So you can call it drawing with conventional names, and we're going to go ahead and start that. So it's going to create a project drawing for us. It's going to bring up our configuration options. We're going to pick metric, and whatever your defaults are, you can set those, whether you're in a different province. Most of the coordinate systems that are available in Canada are supported through the coordinate drop-down lists. Geoid models, if you need one that's not provided with FieldGenius, you can certainly go to their website. They provide some, and you can then copy them using the select here, copy that to your mapping folder, paste it in here, and this you'll be exposed to it. On your next launch of the configuration options, you'll be exposed to additional, in this case, vertical coordinate systems. So if you're using one a lot, you can make it your permanent one, so that when you fire up like this, you'll get those defaults. Now I'm going to set up 1/1000 scale factor, so depending on the drawing I'm setting to here, and you can play with your Leroy text size to get whatever size you're looking for. I'm going to put my point protection to 1 millimeter. Now I might also make those my defaults. So to make those my defaults, my coordinate system, I'm going to give this job description. This is a survey test, survey workflow test. So you can give it an appropriate name. I want you to do your right spelling. And ABC, and I'm going to go ahead and say OK. Yep. Okay, so right now my drawing is empty, but I do have a FieldGenius file. So we're going to look in the traverse menu, and we're going to notice that there are some connectors for different types of data collectors. You could import a raw file from some different total stations, robotic total stations. We want to look at specifically in this little video a import utility using the FieldGenius. So we've used FieldGenius to collect the content. So we're going to jump over to FieldGenius for a second, and we're going to pull up a project. So we're going to pull up a project that was previously done, and we're not going to connect to the instrument, and we're going to zoom in here. So let's do a zoom extent, and I'll just zoom in a window here. So I'm going to pick on one corner of this little drawing. So this was a road was picked up, some blazed lines, some numbering. We can inquire. You can do all your standard calculations in the field. You could export the results. I typically, as a best practice, would export the observations, so the survey report. And I'm going to go ahead and do that. It's one of those good practices that I like to do. It will go in the same directory as where the project is currently opened. So I'll just say GNSS results. This was an RTK GPS result. And then I'm going to be able to open it up. So I'm going to go ahead and open up that file and see what it looks like. And you'll notice that a lot of the content you're going to get in the Traverse editor is some of its content. So this is really good stuff to tuck away in the file in case you have to verify that a certain point met a certain tolerance, met a certain accuracy. How was it collected? What was the base station? What was the mount point reference? Then you can calculate a lot of different things from that. So it's a good source of information if in the future someone asks. So there are obviously ways that we can export this using an ASCII file. So we could export that in an ASCII format quite easily. We're not going to get all that good reporting information that we've seen if we want to use a field book format. So there is a field book, that's a specific type of format. We can see that in the FieldGenius. We can look at some other known formats, SDR, SEMA. In this particular video, we're not going to be looking at those ones. So most people will use the ASCII format, or if you're a MicroSurvey user, and like case we are, we would do nothing more than actually grab this entire content. So let me exit out of FieldGenius. So say I'm on my controller, I've done my work, and really what I want to do is if I just want to get the file from the field to the office. So I'm going to have a project directory, and I'm just going to essentially copy that or place that somewhere where the MicroSurvey has access to. So with that being said, I'll be able to go now into my Traverse menu, and I'm going to be able to go into my FieldGenius import. So I can bring in a raw file, I can bring in just a coordinate file, I can bring in figures, or there's also a wizard if we look at the Tools menu, and we can go into our handy dandy assistant, and we're going to use the FieldGenius tools. So you'll notice here there are ASCII file, Traverse edit, entry. So these are kind of your standard things in a nice collected tool list. I'm going to use the FieldGenius tools. We're going to bring in the entire project. So we could bring in just a coordinate file, just a raw file, and edit it in the Traverse editor, but I'm actually going to bring in the project. So that's going to allow me to reach out to wherever the location is and bring in the entire project. So I'm going to pick it. Okay, I'm going to import it. And it's going to go ahead, read the file. So you should check through that to make sure you haven't missed anything or something hasn't been deleted. So depending on how long, how big a job this was. So a point was deleted in the field. So that's good to notice. So I picked up on the fact something was deleted, even though the record no longer exists. There is a note in the file that says it was deleted. So for whatever reason, so that's good to know. I'm going to say OK to finish. And at this point, I'll close my assistant, and I'll notice, I'm going to zoom in here and have a quick look. All right, so if the points are too small, depending on what scale you want, so some of those standard tools we have in MicroSurvey. So I'm just going to browse around here and look. If I want to go to the points menu, and if I want to recalculate the scale of the drawing, so let's say it was too small, too large, maybe if I want to turn on some of the ID information, so I'll turn on the elevation, I'll turn on the description, I'll turn on the point number, so I can turn on those things and have a little peek, make my decisions, do my calculations. But what you have here is a pretty slick way of getting information in. Now, if you did it with the Traverse menu and you did an import FieldGenius and you said, let me bring in the raw file. Do you want to bring it in? Yeah. Yes. So if I just same folder, brought in the raw file. So this is the raw stored data. I'm going to create a new Traverse file, and it's going to bring it in. The nice part is I'm going to actually get what looks similar to what the Traverse editor had. Same information displayed, records 1 was found, edit the data, yes. So I get this. So if this had a Traverse in it and I needed to recompute something, you can see through here that there's a stored point, number 1, and the code and description. If I scroll down through this, it kind of gives me that historical. So here's the delete 26779. For whatever reason, these are some of the properties, how it was captured, what the specs were for the active tolerance on FieldGenius, whether it met it or exceeded it, if there was overrides. So a couple of here, I'm going to just pick on one that I think was near the bottom here. For whatever reason, this is what I noticed. Point exceeds tolerance override. So the user, this tells me some of the settings as well. So I know when it was, I know that post-processing was not active. It was in a real RTK mode. It had, this one was autonomous, so this one wasn't, that's probably why it exceeded. We were using a certain mount point. This is what the current standard deviation was, which is quite poor. So we should keep an eye on that. So whatever happened at that location, for whatever why they override, that would be good to know. So you can pick out some of those things and those warnings. So maybe the warning on the FieldGenius should have been re-enabled. We might also see that in the report that that point number there is for a reason was a tough spot. Maybe they should have used an offset, or just it was it is. It's just a point of reference and didn't need to have RTK. So that's a quick look at how to get the content in the Traverse editor. You don't really, I'm just using it to have a quick peek, but the content in the points menu, the points now are all there. If I look at my active coordinate editor, once it brings up the actual file here, I can actually see what's in those points. So I can re-point, I can do a point update if something's changed. So the my editor here, for whatever reason, he's a little tired. He's hiding down here. My point editor is showing me points. So if I need something locked, if I want to make a note, I want to find that point, that should be a little note taken. So my points are in my drawing or a drawing, and they're ready. And it's a pretty straightforward process. So I hope that helps a little bit. Enjoy your field work and your MicroSurvey products.